This is W7. A heads up here for this unprecedented wave of brazen gasoline theft that's happening from coast to coast. It's happening in a lot of major cities and big towns, especially where they have the higher gas prices. And they're saying that it's unlike anything they've ever witnessed because some of the store owners that have been at this 15, 20 years, that have owned multiple stores, are saying that this is becoming almost like tactical, or it's organized. And they know so in one instance because vehicles are pulling up right over their tanks, their underground tanks, and they're using a device and a hose, and they're dropping the hose down into the underground tank and siphoning out all kinds of gas. Now, there's different ways that they're going about it here, but we're seeing the gas thievery happen all over the place. Just everyday people that got their gas cans sitting out or in their shed, they're getting hit. Now, some people are fighting back by loading sugar water up in some of their tanks, and then when you see the car broke down on the road here a short time after, you've then found your culprit. You can just pass someone by and you can know, yep, they got theirs. And that's what we have seen. I know some people that's done that, and oh well, the people shouldn't have been trying to steal the gas. Then they wouldn't have got sugar water in their tank, huh? Anyhow, this is happening large scale.
Alright, Shalom, Carla, Yahweh, Shalom, Shalom to the right. I'll just make this a quick video. This right here is just a start of many other events that's going to happen after this. People stealing gas. The food shortages really reached a peak. And this was going to happen right here. That's in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15. Let me see, I'm going to read this whole chapter. On to this. Chapter 15, we'll start at verse 13. It says, there till the ground shall mourn. We have these farmers and different people to grow crops and different stuff to make wines and different stuff like that. They mourning right now because the land ain't doing what it's supposed to do. And Esau putting out a lot of GMO stuff, so shit won't grow how it's supposed to grow. The weather all twisted up, so the crops really don't grow how they're supposed to grow. Except for the seed shall fall through the glass in the hill and with the fearful consolation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and destruction draweth nigh. And one people should stand up and fight against another, and swords in the hand, which are modern day swords now. That's those guns. And if you look up the statistics and the data, these past couple of years, man, hey, people been buying guns like crazy, so there's going to be a lot of bloodshed going on. Now it says, for there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes, and of course their actions shall stand in their power. So these officers, they run around, a lot of these officers are going to turn in their badges. They're going to go home, try to make sure their family members safe and all that stuff. They're not going to be patrolling and trying to be no damn superheroes, because these people, they're not going to care. And then you got a lot of people that's armed more than officers anyway, so they're not going to get in the way of that. That's why it says they should not regard their kings nor princes. And of course their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into the city and should not be able. Got a lot of areas and regions of the world getting cut off from each other. Travel bans. They're trying to do this travel ban over in Ukraine. I don't know exactly if it went through. I'm going to have to look it up some more. But they're able to pull that off and make a no-fly zone. What's to say they can't do that somewhere else? No-fly zone. Or a no entry point zone. Or if you do enter, you got to go through a checkpoint. To have specific stuff to get through that checkpoint. God says, well, because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. I always read this and I laugh at this because I could see it now. Like you hear, you Akim that's been through certain stuff get built up over time. So shit don't really phase you like that because you already looking for something to happen anyway. So stuff don't really phase you. But you have a lot of these beta males, a lot of these weak men. Too much shit don't really be happening to them like that. And they may, everybody had their little adversity, but on the level that certain people deal with, they don't see that shit. So when stuff like this happen, you got people stealing gas, people gonna be stealing food, people gonna be killing over canned goods, people gonna be killing over jugs of water and shit. Hey, people gonna be afraid, mainly men. And that's gonna lead to That 7 women should take hold one man prophecy in the book of Isaiah, because when women see the majority of these men scared, they're gonna be looking for the one that's not scared, the one with the wisdom and the knowledge, the one that's stable, the one that's maneuvering, and ain't nothing happening to him. They're gonna be looking for that. I says a man should have no pity upon his neighbor, but should destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread for great tribulation. Let me see what else I want to get out of this. In 1 minute, let me see if I want to pull some more out of this chapter. Okay, let me scroll down some more now. Why this is happening? That's what I want to get. I thought it was in another book, but this is in this one. Now it says, Behold, saith Yahweh, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Lebanus, to turn themselves one against another. That's what you see this going on right now. That's why I talk to people. I was talking with my woman, certain family members, because people ask questions. They know what I be into. I do other stuff, make music and work and do other crafts and shit like that. But people know what I'm primarily into. So those main ones that were talking crazy, now they speaking plainly. Now they want to know. They trying to ask questions and shit. Or they speaking more on the topics that I've been speaking on, that the elders been speaking on, that you other Akim been speaking on. Now it says to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them, like as they do yet this day unto my children, so will I do also in recompense in their bosom. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh. So he really turning them against each other for what they did to us. For the Most High's namesake as well, because he has to stand on his word. His name means something, so you can't just let his name go out in vain and people scoffing and talking shit to my the Most High. He must be asleep, or he turned his back and he ain't gonna help us and all that other stuff. No, he helping us. We ain't gotta go take up no arms and no militia and go try to find the leaks. We ain't gotta go run up in no White House and no shit like that. We ain't gotta do that. The Most High gonna turn these devils against each other. They're gonna wipe each other out. The remnant of them that be left over, they're gonna be the first fruits in that captivity. Like the scripture says, those who leave in captivity shall go into captivity. Those who kill with the sword must be killed with the sword. There's the patience and the faith of the saints. So what they did, they gotta pay for it. It took a little minute, according to us on our time. Look at the time frame and shit. Let me pull it up real quick and see if I can find it. See what it say on WikiLeaks or Bing. So you say from maybe mid 1700s, maybe a little bit before that, because they try to wipe this stuff out right now. They don't nobody really know this information. Up until now. Yeah, they say they prohibited it, but why do we have social security cards? Why do we have to get IDs? All that stuff go back to slavery. You left one plantation, you had to go somewhere else. You needed some form of identification. You can't just go around and say, yeah, I'm such and such. No, they need that ID. They want to know where you come from. What region you from? Let me see. What else I want to go to? Oh, okay, so Lockheed. I misspoke on that. So from like the mid 1400s up until now. I said 1700s. That was something else I was reading. To us, that's a long time. It seemed like, man, they ain't never gonna pay for that. No, like the scripture says, one day with the Lord is 1,000 years with men, so it really ain't been that long. But when they judgment come, it's gonna be on a high level. But prior to the judgment, though, our people still got to go through that adversity too. Making this precept. I just want to say you, Akim, if you listening and check out these videos, you're going through adversity. Hey man, you're going through that so you can get built up. So when shit really hit the fan, because stuff going on now. But once it really gets to a point where like, okay, this is it right here. When they start opening up the FEMA camps and we really got troops in the streets like that on a high level. When different nations really going at it neck and neck. On a high level, because you got so much going on now. I want to say with India and Pakistan, Taiwan and China, which you don't see too much in the news right now, but it's going on. They're just talking about the Ukraine situation. Japan and Russia too as well, because there's some stuff going on over in that area. There's a lot of shit going on. The U.S. and Yemen. They left Afghanistan, but they ain't leave Yemen. Let me see, I'm going to go at. That's the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 8. It says, "And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein, and I will bring the third part through the fire." Go back down. My browser acting a little slow now since I'm searching up certain stuff. Normally it don't do this, but anyway. I says, "I will bring the third part to the fire and will refine them. As silver is refined, I will try them as gold is tried. They should call on my name, and I will hear them." That's why you got to know the name. You got to know to call on to help you. When you're going through those situations, you're praying, asking to be delivered. Who are you going to call on? It says, "I will say it is my people," and they should say, "Yahweh is my power." Let me see. Let me pull this precept up. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 12. I'm just end this off of this. I don't want to stretch this out too long. Just happen to see that video online and just, give you an idea of how stuff really gonna get. People stealing gas. Matter of fact, I remember when I was down in Florida and the hurricanes came and different stuff like that. A lot of power was out. People had them backup generators, and they needed to power their generators. They needed fuel, so they was doing ciphering gas. Gas prices went up. They was doing the same thing too. And that was just in that scenario from a storm. So just imagine economic crisis instead of a tropical storm crisis. Let me see. We'll go to this. Look at Zechariah chapter 12. Chapter 12, I'm sorry, verse 6, it says, in that day will I make the governors of Judah like an earth, a fire among the wood, and like a torch of a fire in the sheaf, and they shall devour all the people round about on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, and the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against David. In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and as the house of David shall be as God, and the angel of the Lord before them. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy the nations that come against Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is a people before a place. Because we're not over there right now, but best believe the Most High can move on his name, for his name's sake, and on our behalf too. These people, they still prospering off, what's going on over here in Babylon. All this money that's floating around. Then I was looking at something online recently, and it was talking about them sending a certain amount over there to Ukraine, like to help Ukraine out. But, you got people still suffering from the shutdown that happened over here, though. And that's the irony of Esau. I was reading some of the comments. You had some people that was privy to that. They was like, damn, how the hell they gonna send over? I want to say it was like 800 million, if I ain't mistaken. Because you got people over here getting evicted. People still, trying to catch up on bills. People's jobs, cutting hours and all this other different shit. Still being moved around in a different manner. People not allowing people to work if they don't have the you-know-what in them. So, that's how Esau got shit set up. But they gonna pay for that. Like the scripture say, those who dig up a pit should fall therein. So, just want to bring this out. I don't want to work this out. It's edifying. Call Allah Yahweh Shem Shah. Shalom to the left.